Ada sat on the edge of the bed, her fingers trembling as she clutched another white stick, another negative test. The sight of that single pink line was a familiar heartbreak, a silent torment that had become a cruel routine. Chike stood by the door, his arms crossed tightly over his chest. Ada, maybe we should stop this for a while, he said softly. All this medication, the stress is eating you up. Ada shook her head, tears blurring her vision. I can't stop, Chike. I won't stop. I know God will bless us one day. Chike sighed. I believe that too, but how long will we keep living like this? She turned to him, desperation in her eyes until it happens. Later that evening, Ada and Chike sat in Prophet Joshua's office, the scent of burning incense filling the air. The prophet, a tall man with piercing eyes, folded his hands and looked at them with solemn authority. You have been chosen for a great testimony, he said. Your struggles will become your triumph. Ada leaned forward eagerly, but how do I keep losing? But why do I keep losing my babies, prophet? Because the enemy is at work, he said, his voice low and grave. The devil has laid claim on your womb. Chike flinched. What do we do, sir? Prophet Joshua leaned back in his chair, his eyes gleaming. We must pray, but this kind of battle requires a deeper level of deliverance. He turned to Ada. My daughter, you must come for private sessions alone. The spirit world requires specific atonement for women. Ada swallowed hard. Alone? Yes, my daughter, there are things only a woman can break, things that require purity and dedication. Chike glanced at Ada uncertain. She hesitated but eventually nodded. I'll do whatever it takes. At night, Ada laid on the bed, staring at the ceiling. Chike was already asleep beside her, but her mind refused to rest. Something about the way Prophet Joshua had spoken unsettled her. Still, wasn't this what they wanted? A solution, a child? She closed her eyes and whispered, God, let this be my time. The first deliverance session was held in a dimly lit room behind the church. Prophet Joshua sat cross-legged on a mat, his eyes shut as he muttered incantations. Ada knelt before him, her palms sweaty. Close your eyes, he instructed. She obeyed. He placed his hands on her stomach, pressing lightly. Release, he whispered. Whatever binds you, release. A shiver ran through her, then came a sharp pain deep inside her womb, like something was clawing at her from within. Don't fight it, Prophet Joshua murmured. You have been freed. She gasped at the pain intensified. The room seemed to spin and suddenly she wasn't there anymore. She was in a dark space alone, a shadow loomed before her, faceless and monstrous. Long, cold fingers reaching into her belly, gasping, stealing. She tried to scream, but no sound came. Then she woke up. By the third deliverance session, Ada could barely get out of bed in the morning. She felt drained, weaker with each visit. Chike noticed. Ada, you look sick, he said, placing a hand on her forehead. Are you sure this is working? Ada forced a smile. It is. The prophet said the battle is almost over. Chike wasn't convinced. You've been having nightmares. You barely eat. I don't like this. It's part of the process, she insisted. Chike shook his head. I think we need a second opinion. Maybe see another pastor. Ada stiffened. You don't believe in Prophet Joshua? I do, but something isn't right, Chike muttered. Ada sighed, turning away. She couldn't afford to doubt now. One afternoon, Ada walked through the village market, her thoughts heavy. She was on her way to another session when an old man suddenly stepped in front of her. My child, the woman said, gripping Ada's arm. Her eyes were cloudily ancient. Ada pulled back. Sorry, do I know you? The woman shook her head. No, but I know you. Ada frowned. Excuse me? The woman leaned closer, her voice urgent. Your children are not lost. They are taken. Ada froze. The old man tightened her grip. You must open your eyes before it's too late. A chill ran down Ada's spine. I don't understand. You will, the woman interrupted. But Will you be strong enough? Ada stared at her, heart pounding. Then the old man turned and disappeared into the crowd, leaving Ada standing there shaking. Doubt crept into her mind. What if she was right? Could the pastor really be behind her predicament? Ada couldn't shake the old man's words. The children are not lost. They were taken. The phrase echoed in her mind, gnawing at her sanity. She laid in bed that night, staring at the ceiling while Chike was asleep. What if the answer had been in front of her all along? She turned to Chike. Wake up, he groaned, rubbing his eyes. Chike, have you ever noticed something strange about the woman who go to Prophet Joshua? He yawned. Strange. How? Ada hesitated. The ones struggling to have children. Do they ever actually get pregnant? Chike frowned. I don't know. I never really thought about it. I have, she whispered, and something isn't adding up. The next morning, Ada visited Ngozi, a woman who had attended Prophet Joshua's private deliverance session a year ago. Ngozi had been desperate for a child just like Ada. Ngozi welcomed her in but seemed hesitant when Ada brought up the pastor. I don't want to talk about that anymore, Ngozi muttered, pouring Ada a cup of tea. Please, I need to know, Ada pressed. Did you ever conceive? Ada looked away. Yes, twice. Ada's heart pounded. What happened? Ngozi let out a shaky breath. Both times I miscarried exactly 3 months, and each time I had the same dream. Ada's blood ran cold, a shadowy figure of what appears to be someone you know, reaching into your womb. Ngozi's head snapped up. How do you know that? Ada's hand trembled because it's happening to me too. Ada grabbed her hand. You need to stop going to him. I need to find out what's really going on, Ada whispered. Determined to uncover the truth, Ada spoke to 3 other women from the congregation. All of them had the same story, pregnancy lost after private deliverance session, strange nightmares, and an unshakable feeling of being drained afterward. Not one of them had a living child. It was a coincidence, it was a pattern. That night, Ada made up her mind. She had to see for herself what Prophet Joshua was doing behind closed doors. She waited until midnight, when the streets were empty and the church was silent. Wearing dark clothes, she crept towards the building, her heart hammering. The doors were locked, but she knew another way in, the small back entrance where the church workers sometimes sneaked in late. With shaky fingers, she pushed the door. It creaked silently, but opened. Inside, the air smelled of burning incense, something else, something metallic, blood. Ada's stomach twisted. Careful not to make a sound, she moved through the dark hallway, following the faint sound of chanting. Then she saw it. Prophet Joshua knelt before a large wooden altar, his white robe stained with something dark. In front of him sat a bowl filled with thick crimson liquid, blood. Ada's breath caught in her throat. Beside the bowl laid a black book. Its pages covered in names, dozens of names. She inched closer, squinting at the writing. Each name had a date next to it, the date of miscarriages. Her hands flew to her mouth. This was why they lost their babies. He had been taking them, offering them. A cold shiver ran down her spine. Prophet Joshua dipped his fingers into the bowl, lifting them to his lips. He whispered in a language Ada didn't understand, his voice deep and unnatural. Her knees almost buckled. She had to leave now. But as she turned, her elbow knocked into a wooden stand, sending a candle crashing to the ground. The noise echoed through the silent room. Ada froze. Slowly, the chanting stopped. She turned back just in time to see Prophet Joshua rise to his feet. His eyes glowed red. You were never supposed to see this, he said, a slow, strange smile stretching across his face. And then he began to approach her, looking at her unblinking, as he hypnotized her with his eyes. Ada's breath came in short gaps as she ran. The darkness of the night pressed around her, but she didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Prophet Joshua's glowing red eyes haunted her mind. You were never supposed to see this. She stumbled into the house, slamming the door behind her. Chike, who had been dozing on the couch, shut up. Ada, what happened? She could barely speak. It's him. It's Prophet Joshua. Chike frowned. What do you mean? She grabbed his hands, his fingers ice cold. He's not a man of God, Chike. I saw him. He was chanting over a bowl of blood. He had a book with names. The names of all the babies lost. Chike's face darkened. God forbid. Tears streamed down her face. He's been stealing our children. He's the reason we keep losing them. Chike was silent for a long moment, his feet clenched. Then, in a low, dangerous voice, he said, We need to put an end to this. The next morning, Chike led Ada deep into the outskirts of the village, to the home of a powerful native priest named Dibia Okeke. His compound smelled of herbs and earth, the earth thick with the weight of ancient knowledge. The old man sat on a carved wooden stool, his white beard resting against his chest. He looked at them with wise, knowing eyes. You have seen the truth, he said simply, and if you already knew, why then come here? Ada shivered. Prophet Joshua, he is not a real pastor. D.B. Okeke nodded. No, he is not. He serves a dark force, one that feeds on the soul of the unborn. The more he takes, the bigger his church becomes. Chike's jaw tightened. How do we stop him? The priest took a deep breath. It will not be easy. He has tied the spirit of your children to his power. To free them, we must call them back. But be warned, he will fight to keep what he has stolen. Ada swallowed hard. What must we do? D.B. Okeke stood. Prepare yourself. Tonight we go to war. That night the ritual began. Led them to an open land, far from praying eyes. A sacred fire burned in the center, casting long shadows. Around them, the night felt alive, whispers in the night, rustling leaves that carried unseen voices. Ada knelt before the fire, her hands trembling. The priest sprinkled white chalk around her, then began to chant in a deep rhythmic voice. The spirits of the lost return. Comfort stolen children in the night. You belong to your mother. Come home. A sudden gust of wind tore through the clearing. The fire flared higher, turning blue. Ada gasped. She could feel something, tiny hands reaching for her, whispers calling her name. Then a blood-curdling scream pierced the night. Back in the village, Prophet Joshua's church erupted in flames. The villagers ran out in panic as fire devoured the wooden structure, licking at the sky like an angry beast. Inside, Prophet Joshua was writing on the ground, clutching his chest. His scream was inhuman, his body convulsing. No, no, they are mine, he howled. But the flames roared louder and then silent. When the fire finally died down, there was no sign of Prophet Joshua. He was gone. At dawn, Ada and Chike stood outside the ruins of the church, watching the last of the smoke rise to the sky. Chike exhaled shakingly. It's over. Ada wasn't so sure. She placed her hand on her stomach, wondering if her babies were finally free. Months later, Ada sat in her bedroom, staring down the pregnancy test in her hand. Two pink lines. Tears welled in her eyes. Ada, Chike's voice was thick with emotion. Is it? She turned to him, nodding. We're having a baby. Chike pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly. This time, the pregnancy lasted. This time, no shadow came for her child. But Ada would never forget. She had seen through evil, and she knew Prophet Joshua was not the only one. How many more hid behind the pulpit, offering feeding on innocent babies and their mothers. I hope you did enjoy this story. Please, if you did, don't forget to click on the subscribe button and turn on your bell button for other story updates.